So let's get some reaction to this, and let's speak to North East Independent MEP Jonathan Arnott. A very good afternoon to you, Jonathan.
Good afternoon.
So what do you make of it all?
I have to say, listening to Jeremy Corbyn there, it seems that Theresa May has been so incompetent on this that she's almost made Jeremy Corbyn sound competent by comparison. It's astonishing just how much disarray this government really does seem to be in.
Should Theresa May resign? Is this time for the Prime Minister to step aside?
Well, I just don't see any way that she can continue to command the confidence of the House, but also the confidence of the country. She has been so incredibly weak throughout these Brexit negotiations, has come back with a deal that simply does not deliver on the result of the referendum. She goes into the House of Commons week in, week out, simply saying that it does, saying that it delivers on concerns when it simply doesn't, and then expects people to believe that just by going back out to Brussels and seeking a few assurances, not even a single stroke of a pen change to any one of those 585 pages in the withdrawal agreement, that somehow this is going to sort everything out and that Parliament is magically going to want to vote for it. I just don't see that. I don't see that it's a plan that's got any chance of success. She must have known for week after week after week where we're currently headed. And given all of that, it just seems that a competent Prime Minister could not have got herself into the position that Theresa May has got this country into now.
Should we prepare ourselves for no deal? Should we prepare ourselves for that cliff face, that abyss that we were told that would never happen?
Well, I don't see it as a cliff face or an abyss, but of course we should prepare ourselves for it. Look at Theresa May. You could debate Theresa May by quoting her own words back to her. You look at what she said back in her speech before the general election, where she said no deal would be better than a bad deal, and the government has consistently started making funding available for no deal planning, but then hasn't spent it. They've talked a good talk, but then they've done absolutely nothing to actually plan for that. Now, I'm not one of these people who actually wants a no-deal Brexit. I want us to have a deal. I want us to have a trade-style arrangement with the European Union, the Canada plus type option that has been discussed. But does that
satisfy everyone, Jonathan? Is this not the problem that the Prime Minister's got? She's got so many pipers that she needs to pay that any deal is not going to please anyone. And the only thing that's going to really get her out of Europe is a no-deal situation. And we've heard on this show and on BBC Tees, a lot of people within business are worried sick that we're not going to get a deal.
Listen, I understand those concerns, and to one extent, I agree. I think it is overblown to an extent because the scare stories are thrown out and without often a comprehensive response to them. But actually, where I do very much take issue is this idea that the Canada Plus option doesn't suit anybody. Well, the whole point about that is that if you compare that with a no deal, then literally the vast majority of people in this country, it's the one thing that pretty much everybody would agree on, is that having that kind of trade arrangement with the European Union, making sure that the goods are flowing in both directions, tariff-free, but also giving the UK...
But does that appease the Northern Ireland issue?
That in and of itself doesn't,
and that'd be the crux, isn't it? This is the thing that's stumbling all the time. This is the first time in a long time that we've had a frontier with another sovereign country. We're going to get that, and with a no deal, or a no trade deal, where does that leave people treading that boundary every day?
Well, listen. The UK has been absolutely clear, under no circumstances are we putting up a hard border. The Republic of Ireland has been absolutely clear, under no circumstances are they putting up a hard border. The European Union has been quite clear, under no circumstances are they going to insist upon a hard border. So I think this idea that it's going to lead to a hard border, whatever happens, is, I think, somewhat overblown. And there are technological solutions that should be being considered, but aren't.
But does it not worry you, though, Jonathan? Does it not worry you?
Would agree on is that Canada Plus style arrangement, we've just about got time to arrange something like that. But we should be getting on with it. And
does it not worry you, Jonathan?
Anything in Theresa May's deal is going to be a complete mess.
Does it not worry you, though, that we've never been here before? We're taking our country into something that we've never been into before. Whichever side of the argument you are on Brexit, it's going to be troublesome times for maybe the short to medium term. Can you accept that?
Yes, I've said that many times before, and I believe I've said that on your show before. I agree that if there is a no-deal Brexit, it will be tough for a few months for the UK. I think there are massive long-term advantages. I would personally avoid those few months of difficulty, and I personally think that we'll be much better with a good trade arrangement deal with the European Union than that no-deal Brexit. So, yes, absolutely, I agree. We should be trying to avoid that. But let's go back to the principle on which these negotiations were supposedly opened, which was that no deal would be better than a bad deal. And this, what we're being presented with, isn't just a bad deal, it's an appalling deal. It gets us virtually nothing of the reasons that people voted to leave, but at the same time, it costs £39 billion, and it keeps the UK tied in being effectively a rule taker of the European Union,
Jonathan,
potentially in perpetuity.
I've got to move on, and as always, thank you very much for your robust thoughts here on BBC. It's a pleasure. North East Independent MEP Jonathan Arnott there, his thoughts. It's 17 minutes past 4.